from a secret location in Hollywood. It's the Tom Leykis Show.
You don't get me, huh?
And now, here he is, Tom Leykis.
Thank you for tuning into the Tom Leykis Show. This is where America gets together to talk about the issues you really care about. It's a different kind of a radio talk program. We're the radio talk show that is not hosted by a right-wing wacko or a convicted felon. No. I am your host. Write down our toll-free telephone number. You're going to need it. It's 1-800-5800-TOM. 1-800-5800-866. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for being part of our program. Here we are together again on the radio. A lot of you guys are going to hear this story and you're going to say, hey, that's good. That's a good idea. That's a good one. I like that. It's really not as good as you think. In fact, I don't think it's good at all. Here's the story. Several Ohio state representatives who normally take an anti-abortion stance are now pushing pro-choice legislation. Sort of. Led by Representative John Adams, a group, that's a great name for a politician, isn't it? Does he know Nathan Hale? Jeez. Led by Representative John Adams, a group of state legislators have submitted a bill that would give fathers of unborn children in Ohio a final say in whether or not an abortion can take place. Adams, a Republican from Sydney, Ohio, said, "This is important because there are always two parents, and fathers should have a say in the birth or the destruction of that child." I didn't bring... This is always very telling when someone says this. I didn't bring it up to draw attention to myself or to be controversial. Oh, yes, you did. In most cases, when a child is born, the father has financial responsibility for that child, so he should have a say. So a lot of you guys are saying, hey, that sounds good, right? Listen to what's actually in the bill. As written, the bill would ban women from seeking an abortion without written consent from the father of the fetus. In cases where the identity of the father is unknown, women would be required to submit a list of possible fathers. The physician would be forced to conduct a paternity test from the provided list and then seek paternal permission to abort. So you see what they're trying to do. They're trying to make getting an abortion harder. Claiming to not know the father's identity is not a viable excuse, you sluts. I added the you sluts part. According to the proposed legislation. Simply put, no father means no abortion. Denise Makara, director of something called the Ohio Right to Life Society, and you know what they're all about, said, "I'm really pleased that this has been proposed for one reason. It draws attention to the fact that many men are concerned and care for their unborn children." Blah, 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 blah. You have no idea how many men call telling me about their girlfriends who plan to abort, asking what they can do to help her. They do want to help, and they should have a voice. I love these right-to-life organizations where men are calling about their slut girlfriends who they're banging on a regular basis who get knocked up. They call the Right to Life organization, see what they can do about the pending abortion. Says here, with the proposal, men would be guaranteed that voice under penalty of law. First-time violators would be tried for abortion fraud, a first-degree misdemeanor. What does that mean? The same would be the case for men who falsely claim to be fathers and for medical workers who knowingly perform an abortion without paternal consent. In addition, women would be required to present a police report in order to prove a pregnancy is the result of rape or incest. As is the case, whenever abortion is the topic, sharp opposition has come from members of the House, this is in the State House in Ohio, along with multiple activist groups, the National Abortion and Reproductive Rights Activist League, known, thank God, as NARAL, and the Ohio Right to Life Society, both spoken out against the legislation. NARAL pro-choice Ohio Executive Director Kelly Copeland said this extreme bill shows just how far some of our state legislators are willing to go to rally a far-right base that is frustrated with the pro-choice gains made in the last election. It is completely out of touch with Ohio's mainstream values. This measure is a clear attack on a woman's freedom and privacy. Well, hold on there. I mean, if you're going to have a law like this, why is it one way? Why not turn it around the other direction? If a woman gets knocked up, she needs the permission of the father to go ahead with the pregnancy. How about forcing women to get the consent of the father to proceed with a pregnancy? And if the father does not consent, now wouldn't this be a fairer bill? If the father says, oh, no, I don't want to be a father, she then has two choices: have the baby and support it herself without the right to go on the welfare rolls, or have an abortion. Now, you may think that sounds like an outrageously unfair law, but guess what? So's this one. You know, why is it when we talk about men having a choice with abortion, the choice is always to have a baby? You know, why don't men have a choice to say, I don't want to be a parent? It just doesn't make any sense. So you've heard what this bill is all about. In Ohio, now they want to say if a woman wants to have an abortion, she has to get the permission of the father of the fetus. Doesn't have his permission, she can't have an abortion. What do you think about that?
Tom Leykis, 1-800-5800-TOM.
You have got to be like the lowest rung on the evolutionary ladder I've heard in a long time.
Really?
Yeah.
The Tom Leykis Show. 97.1 Free FM. SoCal's FM talk station.
The Tom Leykis Show. At 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. Thank you for tuning in. We're talking about an attempt to pass a law in Ohio that would say a woman could not have an abortion unless she had the consent of the father of the fetus. What do you think about that? April on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
I was actually calling because I couldn't agree with you more. I think that it is ridiculous how much women have control over a life being created and men have nothing to do or say with any decision that a woman makes. And I actually was calling, I can speak firsthand. I had been dating my boyfriend for about 2.5 years, and I got pregnant. And abortion wasn't my first thought, but he didn't want to have a kid, so I had an abortion. It was that easy. And I don't know why a state is actually considering having a man have a say in that. If it's like pro-choice, it's really a woman's choice, right? She's the one who decides if she wants to have it or not. So I agree 110%. If a woman's going to have a child against a man's consent, he should be able to waive all rights about paying for a child, anything in that child's life if he doesn't want it. I 100% agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to be a parent, go ahead and pay for it.
Exactly, and I didn't want to support a baby all by myself or ruin somebody else's life. It's crazy to me how much women care about something that they're not sure is exactly a life or not, but they're willing to ruin somebody else's life.
Well, because many times women have babies just to keep guys in faltering relationships, or they have babies to get back at guys, or they have babies so they can get money.
Oh, I know. So my friends are some of those girls. I know for a fact. I've seen it firsthand. And I've seen girls pregnant by guys that they know, or try to get pregnant by guys they know have a little bit of money.
If women knew that they could not force a man to become a parent, there would be less unwanted pregnancy.
I agree 110%. And I think it's ridiculous that a lot of my guy friends that got a girl pregnant in high school when they were children and did not know what they were doing. Because I'm only 24. I have at least 5 or 6 guy friends that have kids too. And it's their fault. They were stupid. But they didn't want that baby, and they're still paying for it now when they're trying to make lives for themselves. Because they made a stupid mistake when they were kids. Yeah. And they're paying for it. They're paying for it, babies that they don't know.
Well, a lot of these women want to, they want to get the guy to go to court. They want to drag him into family court and get him to pay. They want to garnish his wages. And the whole idea is to just keep him tied up in your life somehow forever.
Oh, I agree. Because what really, why would you want money from somebody who wants nothing to do with your kid? That is the most greedy thing I've ever done in my life. If I got pregnant by a guy and he didn't want it and didn't want to pay child support, I would move. I would move out of the country. I would never want to see somebody who had no concern for their child, let alone have to get a check from him every single month. I think it's disgusting. I think a lot of girls, I agree 100% with you, and I think that they're all in it for emotional reasons rather than being smart. And it's sad because it's the kids that pay for it. It really is. And, at the time that everything happened with me, yeah, it was a little bit sad for me. The whole process was not a situation I wanted to be in, but I really never wanted to be a single mom, ever, because then none of your listeners would date me, right?
Well, that's right. Now, let me ask you this question. Did you want to have the kid because you were pregnant and you wanted to have the kid, or did you want to have the kid because it was his kid?
I wanted to have the baby because I felt that I was too old to be making the kind of irresponsible mistakes that I had made. I really wanted to just take care of my responsibility. It wasn't an emotional thing. I just kind of said, okay, I made my bed, now I need to lay in it. I got pregnant. I'm old enough to know better. It was kind of stupid of me. So I don't really have excuses. I make good money. I'm, old enough to know better. But then the dad didn't feel the same way as me, so I can't do it alone, nor would I want to.
I think, by the way, I salute you for what you did, and I wish there were more women like you. And
I've lost friends because when they've been pregnant, I've told them to their face, and probably people are going to call in and say, told them to their face, you need to have an abortion. He doesn't care. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want this kid. And it's going to be your kid that pays. And I'm telling you, I've seen it firsthand. My girlfriend's kids are monsters. They have, especially the little boys. They've known men telling them how to be a man. And they're just living off their mom and their daddy's check. And they're getting old enough to realize what's going on. And it's sad. It's really sad.
April, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate the call. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. This is Joe on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
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 This is Gil, actually. It's not Joe.
Okay, I read it off the screen. That's what the guinea typed in there.
Yeah, you know what? I agree with April, but on the same hand, I sort of disagree because, it's, as we all know, fathers have no say as it is in a lot of things, and I think this is one step forward for a lot of men and their rights as fathers.
Well, it doesn't go far enough then because, let's face it, I want the right to say I don't want to be a parent.
Right.
And therefore, if you don't have an abortion, I am absolved of all responsibility.
Right.
Or I would like to have the right to say, I'm not consenting to you having a baby, therefore you can't.
Right.
But that's not what this is.
Okay.
Did you hear what the story says?
Yeah, if you could repeat it. Go ahead.
Oh, Jesus, no, I'm not going to. 1-800-5800-TOM. Never mind. Oh, kill me. Kill me. Tony on the Tom Leykis show. Hello.
Tom, how you doing?
Doing great.
Good, good. I agree and disagree, and I'm probably a little biased to this because I'm going through this right now. My wife, we've been married about 2 years. We have a 13-month-old, and we found out that she's pregnant, but she does not want to keep it. And I totally understand. It is her choice. It's her body. But at the same time, I would like to have a say in it as well. And I do believe it should be both ways. If I didn't
but the thing is, this isn't the kind of thing both people can have a say in. Because there is no compromise. It's like, let's say you're getting divorced and one person has $100,000 and one person has $0, and you want to have a compromise, maybe both people get $50,000 is a compromise. When you're having a baby, you can't have half a baby to compromise. You either have one or you don't. So whose word goes?
Well, and that's, and I see exactly where you're coming from, but, I had a choice in laying down and doing the deed as well as she did. But now all of a sudden, I don't have a say.
Well, she's the one who has to house that fetus.
I know, and exactly. I'm saying it should be.
Maybe she doesn't want to.
Like you're saying, it should be a two-way street. If I didn't want it and she did, I should also have a say as well to avoid all the
but you still wouldn't have a say. She would decide. In the scenario I propose, the woman would always have the right to choose whether to give birth. But I would have the right to choose whether I wanted to be a parent.
I agree with that as well.
And you see, that is not in this bill. Because I should be able to say to a woman, you go ahead and have a baby, but I want no part of it, and therefore I'm not going to help you. Not going to pay, not going to support you, not going to visit, not going to be involved. A man should have the right to say that.
Well, I think, if this bill does end up getting passed in Ohio, that there's obviously going to be, hopefully, for both parties, there should be some type of revision.
Don't be fooled. This law is being pushed to try to push closer and closer to making abortion illegal. That's the purpose of it. It is not what you think it is.
Well, yeah, okay. Well, I definitely don't think abortion should be illegal. You should definitely have the right. It should also.
Well, this is when you see who's in favor of this bill. People like the Right to Life groups and stuff. Trust me when I tell you. This is not to give men rights. It sounds like that. This is to make it impossible to get an abortion.
I'll have to take a look at it and read it and try to look between the lines because it does,
It's very clever because it makes guys like you think you're getting new rights, when in reality, it'll never be discussed again because they're going to try to make it illegal to have an abortion, period.
Well, I love being a father, so if, whatever, really. If she decides she wants to keep it, I'm all for it. I'm there, to support it. And if not, then you know what? Hey, I suck it up and I support it either way.
Yeah, well, the person who has to put in 9 months of work and morning sickness and prenatal care, that person should decide whether they want to re-up for that.
Right.
You should then have the right to say, you know what, I want no part of this. But you're married to her, so I don't see, even in my perfect world, if you're married to her, that's your problem. If you didn't want to have a baby with her, you shouldn't have been married.
Exactly. That's what we're going through, right now.
Right.
The deed. So, all right, Tom, I won't keep your lines tied up.
All right, Tony. Thank you for that. Wife got pregnant very close to the last pregnancy, wants to have an abortion. He wants to stop it. So if she does not want to spend another 9 months laid up, if she does not want to spend another 9 months of morning sickness and prenatal care and the risk of being pregnant, he should be able to stop her? I don't think so. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. Let's say hello here to Devin on the Tom Leykis show. Hello.
Hey, Tom.
Hey.
First off, I just wanted to say that first girl that called April, is it somewhat ironic that I now want her to have my baby? Because finally some woman is calling the show that has a lick of sense in her head about when it comes to, actually being able to choose when it's, when you do and do not want to have a baby, most women that I know just would keep it no matter what because of society or religious crap.
Or because they could get money out of you and get you to stay in their lives for years and years after you want to be involved.
Exactly. And that's the thing. I think this law that they're going to pass is going to hurt both men and women because for women, it's going to basically turn it into a scarlet letter law because they now have to go through the embarrassment of contacting all these guys that might be the father. And if they can't find it, they've now got to, they can't terminate the pregnancy. And for guys, what if it's a situation where she can't initially find the guy, is forced to have the baby, and then later finds out who the father is? That guy now, he didn't have the choice originally. He's now stuck for 18 years of child support.
Right.
It's because she couldn't find him initially.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And this is basically just showing what their real agenda is. They don't care about, right to life. They just don't want people to have sex without consequences, men or women. They want you to have worry about some sort of consequence when you have sex casually with somebody.
Yes. And that is certainly the ultimate agenda here that goes beyond the right to life issue. It is the agenda of making people feel guilty for having sex. You're absolutely right. That's what this is all about.
That's why there's all these people that's why now we have pharmacists that are allowed to refuse to fill birth control prescriptions. This is why we have groups that are spreading superstition about condoms so that people won't use them, especially in third world countries. This is why we have people who are even use of birth control just because they think, it might accidentally abort a fertilized cell that's been alive for 3 days.
You are absolutely right, Devin. Thank you for that. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. Let's say hello here to Heather on the Tom Leykis show. Hello.
Hello, Tom.
Hello, Heather.
Hey, how are you?
Do you care?
Yes, I do. I love your show. I listen to it every day.
Thank you.
Anyways, I just wanted to let you know that I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. Actually a little town called Perry, and I've had 2 abortions in Ohio. One of the abortions, one was actually a miscarriage, and one was an abortion. The abortion I got because I didn't want to tell the father because I was being physically abused by him. I'm sure you're going to have a field day with me by that because I did love him. Like, I love how you say, oh, but I loved him. But I did. And it was wrong, and I was stupid, and yes, I made mistakes. But I don't think it's, I agree with you in a way, but I didn't want to tell him because, he was abusing me, and if I would have told him that I was pregnant with his child, he would have loved that because he would have wanted to keep me jailed with him and the baby, so to speak.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
What a mess.
I was so abused by him that I had to go to the hospital and have my face redone by him.
You didn't have a face transplant, did you?
Oh, no.
Okay.
No. Not a face.
You're seeing those stories on TV,
No, not a face transplant, but I had an orbital blowout fracture of my left eye.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah, and I had to have the whole thing.
So now you look like John Kerry? Oh.
No, not quite that bad. It's almost healed, and I had the nerve damage all back. They said if I wouldn't have had the nerve damage back by Christmas, I would have been all right. But, that I could forget it, and I had it back. So I'm all healed, and everything's fine. But
very good.
I just, I don't think that in every case it's a good idea to let the boyfriend or husband know. Fortunately, I wasn't married to the jerk. But, he was, I made a mistake, yes, and, I figured you'd have a field day with me because he was in prison before I met him, 6 years, for rape and assault. And then I decided to date him because I thought it could change him,
boy.
Just like all stupid women, and you can't.
He's going to stop raping with me. That's where it stops.
Well, the thing is I had to beg him for sex, basically, because I'm a sex fiend.
He's a rapist and you had to beg him for sex?
Basically, yeah. Not really beg him, but it's like, he
maybe
would never...
Maybe you should have met him in a dark alley somewhere.
Yeah, really. Exactly. But I just wanted to let you know that, it was a rough decision to make, and I regret it. But, the thing is, I just don't think it's necessarily a good idea to, let the father know of the child because in cases like mine, he would have loved that. He would have wanted me to he would have loved me being pregnant, because then that would have been something more that he would have held me to, you know?
I know exactly what you're saying, Heather. Thanks a lot for the call.
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM.
Lady, how old are you?
I'm 41 years old.
You're over the hill.
I mean, I can't waste my time with you. The point of me calling in was not to talk to some immature man that wants
You're a wrinkled douchebag.
The Tom Leykis Show. 97.1 Free FM. SoCal's FM talk station.
It's the Tom Leykis Show. From behind a wall, somewhere in Hollywood. A big battleship gray concrete wall. That's what it is. At 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. Thank you for tuning in. We're talking about a bill they're trying to pass in the Ohio State Legislature that would say that if a woman is pregnant, she can't have an abortion without the permission of the guy who knocked her up. What do you think about this? Stephanie on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi, how are you today?
Great.
Fabulous, fabulous. Good to hear. I really hope this doesn't get passed, because quite frankly, my husband and I are dealing with this in the worst way. When he was 18 and in the Navy, his ex-girlfriend, who stopped taking the pill on purpose, sent him a sonogram saying, "Here's our beautiful baby." Like, hello? You know, that's not something you want to have to deal with while you're in boot camp, first of all. Second of all, he begged her to have an abortion. We're not ready. We don't want to have the money, the means. I don't want to be a father, and she refused to have an abortion with the hopes of locking him in. He resents, it's sad to say, but he resents the child a little bit because, and I mean, we love Logan. He's a good kid, but he resents him a little bit because the mother is such a psycho hose beast and she's so hard to deal with. And at the same time that this was going on, I was his best friend. So I knew firsthand what was going on. And I myself was pregnant by another guy, and we chose together to have an abortion because we weren't ready to be having a child. So I can.
Your life is quite the soap opera.
Yeah, and it's.
You were pregnant by another guy, and he was hearing from an ex that she was pregnant by him.
Yeah, at the same time.
At the same time.
We were best friends for 10 years before we ever got married. Go figure. Who knew he was right there?
My goodness. You could have gone to Costco and bought abortions in bulk.
I know.
Get them on a pallet.
Seriously. So my whole stance is that this child's life is total chaos now. He's so far behind in school. He's got emotional and physical issues because his father is there for him as much as he can. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I wouldn't say anything.
Oh, okay. Yeah, his father, wants to be there for him as much as he can be, but at the same time, he doesn't want to have a kid, and he's being garnished his wages,
Yeah.
So it's a real mess. And the only person paying for all of this really is the child, And
I'm amazed he wants to get involved at all. And that's exactly what she wants. She wants to keep him in her life. That's what this is about.
It is, and it's sick. It's sick. Logan is a pawn in her game. The child is a pawn in the game that she plays to get child support. She has another child from another guy after him that she collects on as well.
Well, I warn all the military guys. I warn them. I tell them. Wrap it, and never, ever believe a woman is on birth control. Ever.
Seriously, because she's got head issues to begin with. We all told him when he started dating her. There's something wrong with that girl. You need to run fast and run far. But he didn't because he was a virgin, And a girl was giving him attention.
Right.
So
it wasn't the attention he was looking for.
No kidding.
It was that fleshy kind of fuzzy purse that she was swinging at him.
Yeah. So anyways, I totally and completely agree with you. My husband now have a 6-month-old son who he was ready for. We chose together to make that child, and he is a blessing in our life. But if we would have gotten pregnant anytime before the time that we decided, we both said we would have an abortion. So it's sad that these children are becoming the victims of all of this.
Well,
you know?
nothing new about that, darling. Thank you. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. Let's say hello here to so many of these. Travis on the Tom Leykis show. Hello.
Hey, Tom, how you doing, man?
Doing great.
Well, short but simple, 21 years old. I've been driving race cars for about 15 years. Actually, I just turned 22. Girl I grew up with from way back in the day. We hooked up one night, wore a condom, practice safe, got to. She comes to me about 3-4 months later, says that she was pregnant, had an abortion. And, she's 20 years old. I'm traveling all over the country, let alone the world, and there's no way I could have been able to raise a kid. And especially at 21 years old, I mean, what's the chances of that kid turning out to be a decent person and a decent citizen and doing what they got to do? I mean, it's just ludicrous to think that we got to all of a sudden you got to make this joint decision. I mean, I think it's a good idea as far as making a decision together, but having it be a law, I mean, that's taking it one step too far.
Well, especially since many times women get impregnated by guys they hardly know. Maybe you had a one-night stand. Maybe your high school sweetheart came to town for a day. I mean, you didn't necessarily get impregnated by your husband or your boyfriend.
Oh, you're exactly right. I mean, this is a girl that I'd known for, a long time. I knew her pretty well. Not great, but good enough. And, one night of fun, I mean, we had a little bit to drink, and it was an accident. I mean, 100% pure accidental. I mean, we were both safe and all that kind of stuff, and it just turns into this. And I think I guess you could call it almost an invasion of privacy, saying that you can't make a personal decision because of a law.
Well, we need to salute all the women out there who came to us, because I had 4 of them, came to us and said, I'm pregnant. What do you want to do? And then they did what we wanted them to do. And my hat is off to all those women.
Yeah, I mean, those are women with good heads on their shoulders that probably, when they're ready, they're going to want a kid. And don't get me wrong, I have a 3-year-old sister, so I know exactly what it's like to go through the whole kid stage.
I'm glad you mentioned that. One of the 4 women who I impregnated, who had the abortion, now has a kid of her own and has for several years.
Yeah, I mean, because then they're ready for it. So you're pretty much forcing more.
Well, not just ready for it. They are with somebody who presumably wants to have a kid with them.
Yeah, I mean, you're forcing. I mean, and then we get on then you could take this a step further and say, okay, so there's going to be a whole bunch of more kids that because they couldn't come to an agreement, all right, so our welfare is going to go up. There's going to be more, our schools are going to be even more overcrowded than what they are. There's so many more ramifications of this decision if it does go through. How far do these guys really think this out? I mean, what's our deficit now? Billions?
Yep.
I mean, is this really going to help us out any further?
Good points.
So, hey, you're the man, Tom. Thank you very much. You have a good day, bud.
Travis, thank you. Appreciate the call. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. We're talking about a bill in Ohio that would make the law in Ohio that if a woman got pregnant, she wanted to have an abortion, she couldn't have one without the consent of the guy who knocked her up. What do you think about that? Liz on the Tom Leykis show. Hello.
Hello, yes, this is Liz.
I know, I just said that.
Air?
Oh, did you want to be on the air?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay. See what I can do about that. It's the Tom Leykis show. At 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. Liz, the Tom Leykis show. Hello.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes, am I on the air?
Did you want to be on the air?
Yes.
Okay, hold on, please. The Tom Leykis show. At 1-800-5800-TOM. Liz, the Tom Leykis show. Hello.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes, am I on the air?
Did you want to be on the air?
Yes.
Okay. It's the Tom Leykis show. Playing the hits. 1-800-5800-TOM. Liz. Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
I'm wondering if I'm on the air.
Did you want to be on the air?
Yes.
Okay, hold on, please. It's the Tom Leykis Show at 1-800-5800-TOM. Liz, you're on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hello, is this Tom?
Did you want to talk to Tom?
Yes.
Okay, hold on, please. The Tom Leykis Show. I'm Larry Elder. Liz, hello.
Hello?
Yes.
I'm wondering if I'm on the air.
Why are you wondering that?
Well, because I wanted to speak my views.
Well, I understand that, but I just said you're on the Tom Leykis Show.
Oh, okay.
I said it any number of ways, and you kept asking me if you were on the air.
You know what? I am so sorry. I don't listen to your show. I just happen to be changing the...
Well, you don't have to. It doesn't take any experience. If I say you're on the Tom Leykis Show,
I didn't hear you say that.
Let's think this out. All right, but I just talked to you 6 times.
I am so sorry. I have a horrible phone. It's really bad, and I need to replace it.
They've got stores for that kind of thing. You get down to your Verizon store, your Sprint store, your T-Mobile store.
You're right.
You go pick up a new one.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I just wanted to say that I feel that people are very irresponsible. I mean, if they're going to be sexually active, they can use a condom, or they can use spermicides, or they can abstain.
Well, don't assume that everybody who gets knocked up didn't do that, because 3 of the 4 abortions that I was responsible for, I did use a condom.
Oh, I see. And you didn't feel that adoption was an option?
Nope.
Why is that?
Because people change their minds. Also, sometimes people show up at your front door 15 years later. I don't want that happening.
They show up at your door? Oh, you mean a child?
Yes.
And why is it such a bad thing?
Because I don't want to have a child. I don't want my life to change. I like my life the way it is today. I like having complete freedom. I like freedom to go on vacation anywhere I want, anytime I want, spend my money on what I want to spend it on, have a nice house without vomit or spittle all over my furniture, not have to take my vacation at Walt Disney World. I need to give you a big, long list. There's many good reasons.
There are people who would view this child as a gift from God. They would be happy to have
Well, then they should, I'll tell you what, then they should go to an adoption agency and they should go find somebody who wants to have a baby. But I'm not that person.
Well, I feel sorry for the children. I mean, it's not their fault. I mean, they're victims.
Well, again, frankly, many of these babies are born because women don't use birth control. Because condoms are a very unreliable form of birth control, and it's the only thing men have.
Well, of course. I mean, but men can also abstain.
But the men are not going to abstain. That's like telling men to abstain from urination or abstain from breathing. They're not going to do it.
Well, there are priests that do it. I mean...
No, well, and there are many who don't. I've got 660 million reasons why I'm right.
Really? What are these reasons?
Did you just hear? I know you live here in Southern California like I do. Did you happen to read the newspaper recently about a settlement between the Los Angeles Archdiocese and a plethora of sexual abuse victims?
Yes, I am aware of that.
You are aware of that. So you just said priests are able to abstain. Apparently,
no, I mean,
some priests are. Well, some people are able to abstain from all. Some people are able to abstain from eating Cinnabons, okay? But the fact is most don't. And the same thing is true with sex. Most people do not abstain from sex.
I have a child. I have a 19-year-old.
Good for you. You have a 19-year-old and you're 36.
Excuse me?
You have a 19-year-old and you're 36, and what happened?
I'm not 36. I'm 47.
Okay, it says 36. Did you lie to Dean, or did he guess at your age?
He guessed.
Oh, you wouldn't tell him your age. Okay, he thought you sounded about 36.
Yes, I know.
So what happened with your son?
Well, I mean, if his girlfriend was to get pregnant, I would tell him not to do it, and I would be happy to help this child, even if that meant, that he would have to pay child support. I would be there for that child.
Well, maybe he doesn't want to have a child like I don't. And what you tell him to do, he's an adult. He'll do what he wants to do.
That's absolutely true. If you heard him, he would absolutely agree with you.
Well, there you go. Thank you for the call.
It's the Tom Leykis Show. 97.1.